Welcome to the first episode of our new series, Beginner Magic. Today we're going to be covering a bunch of different ways to make small objects vanish. Okay, that was just a camera trick, but everything else that we're going to teach in this video is real sleight of hand moves that you can use in almost any situation. Whether you're prepared with a sponge ball, or you want to do some coin magic, or simply pick up a rock from the ground, you'll be ready with these moves. But please understand that these are just moves. These are not tricks in themselves. You'll take these moves and build them into a routine to make your magic even better. So let's get started. First, I'm going to show you the French drop. This works great with coins or really any small object that fits in your hand. You grab it into the other hand, you do some gesture, and then it vanishes. Now of course, if you did that all by itself, it's pretty obvious that the coin is in your other hand. So you want to place some time and separation between when you do the move and when you reveal that the vanish has happened. But before we get to all that, let's cover the basic moves. Display the object like this, so that if you lift your thumb, it will gently fall into the palm of your hand. Then pretend to grab it with the fingertips of your other hand. Many beginners' books show the person grabbing the object with their entire hand like this. Although that doesn't look terrible, it doesn't feel natural. If you were going to actually grab an object from your hand, you would never reach through and use your entire hand. You'd use your fingers. So you want to mimic that in the magic so it looks and feels more natural. Practice actually grabbing the object multiple times and pay attention to your body and your motion. Notice that as my right hand grabs the object, my left hand automatically drops to my side. That's what I would naturally do. So when it comes time to do the move, I want to follow that same motion. Okay, now that you understand the basic moves, let's look at the entire vanish. As I make the false transfer, I immediately drop my left hand to the side as I display my right hand as if it has the coin. Since all the focus is on my right hand now, it's the perfect opportunity for me to ditch the coin in my pocket with my left hand. Now as I pretend to transfer the coin back to my other hand, I'm one step ahead of the audience. The rest is just acting. Take your time with it, don't rush this part. Slowly open your hand to reveal that the coin has vanished. This move can also be used to swap one item for another without the audience knowing. Let's say you have two coins that look identical, but one of them is gimmicked, so you need to swap it out before the end of the trick. If you palm the real coin in your right hand, and then you do the French drop, you've just swapped that for the other coin without the audience knowing. There are plenty of videos out there on how to palm, but I'll give you the basics right here. You place the coin in the center of your palm like this, and then squeeze your hand together and try to hold it in a natural position, so the spectator doesn't know the coin is there. Next, we're going to cover the Toss Vanish, but before we do, please take a second to like and subscribe. For the next move, you'll take a coin and toss it from one hand to the other. Again, after creating a little separation between the move and the vanish, you open your hand, and the coin is gone. All you're doing here is palming the coin and pretending to toss it, and then mimicking catching it. It'll take a bit of practice to make this feel natural and look real, but believe me, put the time in and it's worth it. The next move is called the Take Vanish, because you mimic taking a coin from one hand into the other. Again, I'll suggest that you actually pick the coin up multiple times to get used to how your body naturally moves. Then when you do the move, it'll look and feel much more natural. Now let's take a break from the coins and talk about sponge balls. Or you could just use a crumpled up napkin to do these same moves. These are called Retention Vanishes, because your mind remembers seeing the object there so it believes it didn't move. And although it's fairly obvious how they're done, these moves are very effective. In case it wasn't that obvious, let's go over the moves. So you'll place the ball in your right hand and then pretend to hand it over to your left hand, but you'll actually never let go of the ball. As with all the other moves, you're going to want to practice actually passing the ball over to get used to your natural motion so that you can make it feel and look real. To do this vanish, you're going to clip the sponge ball with your thumb. The idea is to make it look as though you're using your thumb to jam the sponge ball into your other hand, but actually you're going to let your thumb slip past the ball and then clip it in thumb palm, just like this. Some common mistakes that new magicians make is to rush this move or to keep their hands in an unnatural position, which makes the move very obvious. You want to get comfortable with the move so that you can take your time and make it look natural. Also, you don't want to squeeze your hand so tight that you couldn't possibly have an object in it. At the same time, you don't want to overcompensate and keep your hand too loose to make it obvious as well. If you actually place the ball into your hand, you'll get a feel for what it should look like when you're pretending. Now let's move inside so we can talk about lapping, or the lap vanish. This works great for coins, or if you're at a restaurant, you want to grab a sugar packet or any small object. When done correctly, it'll look as though you picked a coin up off the table. However, you're really going to make that coin vanish. Of course, all you really did was allow the coin to fall off the table and onto your lap, which is why they call it lapping. Again, the best way to make this move look real is to practice actually picking the coin up off the table. Now try to keep the exact same motion when you do the move, and it'll look completely natural. Once you're comfortable with a coin, practice this move with other small objects, and there are plenty of really cool effects you can do. For example, take a sweet and low, place it in your other hand, and it turns itself into an equal. So we've covered a bunch of bare hand vanishes. Now I'm going to show you how to use a gimmick to make things vanish. Although I'm using a silk in this video, this can be done with a regular napkin at a restaurant. And as you get more advanced, you could even do it with a lit cigarette. So in case you're not familiar with the gimmick I used, this was done with a thumb tip. I'll put a link in the comments on where you can get one of these. They cost less than $5, and it's something you'll use all the time. Don't worry if the color doesn't exactly match your skin tone. If it's done properly, the spectator will never actually see the thumb tip at all. You'll begin with the thumb tip on your left thumb, but you'll hold the silk or napkin over it to hide it from the audience. Now you'll draw all the attention to the silk in your other hand as you wave it around and talk about it, so that you can secretly remove the thumb tip from your thumb and put it inside your hand like this. Now, as you begin stuffing the silk into your hand, you can slow down and show it from every angle. The thumb tip is completely hidden inside your hand. It's important that you use different fingers as you stuff the silk into your hand, so it doesn't look completely obvious when you use your thumb at the end to steal the thumb tip away. To make it more convincing, continue to push the silk into your hand even after the thumb tip has been stolen away. Another convincer is to point at the hand even after the silk is gone, before you open it up to show that it's vanished. A lot of times you'll see a magician trying to show their hands empty and holding the thumb tip straight on so the spectator can't see it. Although this method of hiding the thumb tip does work, it really feels and looks unnatural, and there's no reason to draw attention to your hands at this point. It looks much more natural to just drop your hand to your side after you do the vanish, and it even gives you an opportunity to ditch the thumb tip in your pocket. Look at the difference between doing the trick wrong and doing it right. In this case, I only use my thumb when I need it, and I don't use any of the convincers to hide where the silk went. Now watch it done the correct way, using different fingers, and then after I steal the thumb tip I continue to push, then drop my arm to the side and create distance as I show the vanish. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment to let us know what your favorite part of this video was.